of the One Question podcast with John and Joe. Today's question is, why do musicians put up with the music industry? And what we mean by that, I think, is probably universal for any artist, because you spend so much time working on your art, and then when it comes time to do something like play a show and present your art, generally speaking, especially musicians, I think we just lose money playing shows.
You lose money playing shows, lose money on merch all the time. I mean, I can't...
Well, that's one way to make money, but you lose it if people aren't interested.
Well, yeah, if you're a small band like us, I mean, we've probably bought a whole bunch of rounds of shirts, and we'll sell like 10, and then the rest of them we're just like, screw it, hand them out.
Get it out for free, yeah.
Hand it out for free. Same with CDs.
Yeah. I mean, there's bands who are great with marketing and artists who are good with marketing, and I think they do a good job of making money whenever they can. We could be better at that. I think a lot of bands could be better at it. But in general, let's first talk about the fact that I'd say most musicians that play shows that aren't, successful yet, or like they're on their way or they're trying to make it, how much do you think in general we spend to go play a show? It's not that much. I mean, it's like some gas just to go drive like somewhere in town.
Yeah,
It's maybe $15, $20.
15, $20 tops. We have to pay a drummer to play with us.
Oh, I forgot about that. So it's about $125 when it's all said and done, or something.
It's $125 to play a show, and we might see $10 each at the end of it if we're lucky.
Yeah. I do think that there's kind of a lower tier and an upper tier when it comes to shows that you sort of accept. And I think as you get older as a musician and as an artist, you have a little bit more self-worth and you have a little bit more experience. And so I think it's easier for me and Joseph now to turn down shows if we know that it's, one, not going to be that much fun. We're only going to get to play like 4 songs and we're not going to get any money. I think that in general, none of those shows have ever helped us get anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Or, they're usually fun. It's not like it's not fun to play a show, but sometimes...
Always good practice.
Always good practice. But sometimes when you get home, you're like, okay, we just hauled all of our stuff, however many miles.
The worst.
Didn't get paid. So sometimes it's just like you get back and you're like, man, that really wasn't worth it. And as you get older, you're like, okay, let's figure out how we can make some money playing some shows.
It also kind of depends on like the thing that you're doing as a band. I think that we didn't necessarily like pigeonhole ourselves into what we do, but we want to do our own music and someday make that a reality for us. And so we end up going and playing shows where people don't know us. We're playing our own songs, which people already still don't know. And then we get out of there versus being in a cover band like downtown Nashville. Those guys make money.
Yeah.
Those guys make money playing music, and they can talk to the bars that they're playing at about what it costs for them to come and play there. And that's because they're playing songs that everybody already knows.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like we chose our own path and we're doing our own thing. We have to like kind of accept that. But at the same time, like we have upped our covers, our cover game. We have a whole bunch of covers now, so we're hoping to make some money soon.
Which I'm happy about. I think, yeah. And I don't think that me and Joseph will ever be like a Broadway, Nashville downtown band, and I'm okay with that because, we don't want to get necessarily stuck doing that. We love our originals, but I would be more than happy to be a band that plays about 2-hour sets of covers that we like, the occasional crowd pleaser, and then a bunch of originals. Just to if we could make $100 to $200, I'd be completely happy with that. And I think that that's something we can do. But I think that this podcast is, in a lot of ways... Did we start timing yet?
We're just going off the clock on the phone.
Okay. Sorry. I think this podcast, in a lot of ways, is just to have a conversation about what it's like to be, when we started playing, we were in high school. And I think that when you're in high school and when you're young, any artist is just very excited about their art. And there were so many times growing up that, like, there's literal companies that it's their job almost to take advantage of these like high school artists, you know? Like we had a show once, and I think anybody who's ever been in a band, especially in high school, will probably be able to relate to this, but there was this thing that came through Portland, Oregon, and it came through, I think, the whole United States probably, and it was the Next Big Thing tour.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, maybe we were naive and didn't know any better anyways, but they call us and they're like, do you want to be a part of the greatest opportunity for your band and like possibly get signed? And like, if you get first place, you get studio time.
You get $5,000 that goes towards studio time.
Yeah. And so we were like, yeah, wow. And then we sold, I think, like the most tickets out of anybody.
We did. We sold all of our tickets. We bought the tickets that we didn't sell just so we could be like, dude, we sold every single one. We want that prime spot.
Which is stupid. But the more tickets you sold, the better spot you got, the better time slot you got, and you got to play on like the bigger stage. And oh man, it was just crazy because it was like we had to hold on to all the money that we had from the ticket sales and just give it off to the company. And it was like $1,500. And I'm not saying, I mean, they have to make a profit too. Like, I'm not saying that they shouldn't, but it was just kind of like interesting. It's like we got up there, we played 4 songs.
Yeah, we got our set cut short because the guys before us went too long.
Yeah, so we got up there and we played 4 songs, and then, you know, our friends came out. We didn't win. I mean, we probably shouldn't have expected to win, but I don't know. It was just kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting to think about all that because when you're younger, it's almost like people know that you're going to be excited as an artist, and they know how they can take advantage of that, you know?
Oh, 100%.
It's kind of sad.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole point of being in a band. Like, even through all of the heartbreak of like stuff like that not working out, you finish a song, you get stoked on it, you release it to everybody, you have one person who shows interest, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. And they're like, dude, we can get you like this and this and this and this. And then you're like about to consider it. And then there's like all those tiny labels, which I mean, they got to do what they got to do, I guess. But like we've had labels in the past reach out to us and they're like, we love your guys' music, but we don't have any money to like send you guys out to do things. So if we sign you, we need you guys to give us $10,000 up front.
Right.
And we're like,
that's how you know it's a scam.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, if you're a label and you don't have money, it's like you can still help the artist. And I don't know. There's still ways that like you can help the artist as much as they can help themselves and make money when they make money, you know, but whatever. But yeah, there's been just so many times. And again, any small band, anybody who started in a band in high school can relate. So many people will email you with just these fraudulent like claims about some label that they want you to sign to. And I don't know. It's just crazy. You get so excited, though. You want to be like the next Jonas Brothers. But
yes,
in reality, you're not. We weren't good enough. There's probably some bands in high school who were good enough, but yeah.
That's funny because it's still not uncommon for stuff like that to happen. Like on our social medias all the time, we get people who will message us and be like, hello, John and Joe. We love your social media presence, which is, I mean, it's all right, I guess. But they're like, you guys are amazing at social media. Would you guys like 500 guaranteed streams on your next release? DM me for more details. And I'm like, no.
Yeah, and we get those like a lot now.
Yeah.
We get emails too, and I just like delete them right away because they all are the same.
Yeah.
It's really interesting.
Definitely. Especially in this day. I don't know. It's also weird that in this day and age too, like you have all of this stuff at your fingertips to be able to like get your music out there and do your own thing. But sometimes unless you like know how to do, like you just like have that spark and like things just like start to roll and like happen for you by yourselves, you kind of feel like you're limited to needing like some sort of label or some sort of outside help.
Yeah, I think it is. It gets a little bit overwhelming and exhausting when you put so much effort into making the songs great. You know, you're spending most of your time writing the songs and going through fixing the lyrics and making sure the recording sounds good. And then all of a sudden it's time to put it out and you have zero idea how to do that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's really frustrating. So, you know, every couple songs you put out, you're like, this one's going to do the best for us. Like, I believe in this song.
Yeah.
But unless you put in like any effort or like a good amount of effort in your free time, when you have it.
That's the thing is like sometimes when you feel like things are like obviously like getting discovered online is like for every one person that happens to, there's a million more that doesn't happen for. But you get like a little bit of something and you're like kind of half expect that to keep happening.
Yeah.
Like when we released our song Hearts Unknown, check it out on Spotify. We got like 20,000 streams in the first week, which was awesome. And like whether or not that like was meant to happen or wasn't meant to happen, because it's a long story. If you ask us in the comments, we'll tell you. We're not going to use podcast time to talk about that. But then after that, we released a couple more songs and we're like, dude, it's going to happen again. Like this is another really good song we're putting out. It happened once. A whole bunch of people were exposed to our music. It's totally going to happen again. And then the next time we put out a song, we got like 100 streams in the first week.
Yeah. And I mean, it's tough too, because sometimes you're going through something in life and you don't have the resources to be able to make something happen for your music.
Mm-hmm.
I think it went Hearts Unknown. Then what came after that? We Can't Be This Young Forever.
We Can't Be This Young. And then Hey You.
I feel like for both of those, we were both like really busy and just like exhausted or something, because I don't think we really actually sat down and was like, let's do this, this, and this. Whereas with this latest song, I actually think that we succeeded in like the things that we talked about and made those things happen.
On that board up there, we've checked off just about everything. And now it's got 2,500 streams.
Which is pretty good. I mean, I'm happy with that. I want it to go up.
Of course.
But it was cool because with this last song, She Moves Around, check it out, by the way, we had our friend who's succeeded with some releases before kind of help us out with telling us what to do, and we got on a couple different playlists, some of which we had to pay for, which sucks because we had to pay for it. Like, we put out a song, we put our money into that song, we put everything into the song for years, and then we put it out and we have to pay, not only to get it on Spotify, but we have to pay to get it on a playlist so that it can get some
people
streams.
Listening to it.
Yeah. And we're thankful for our friends and family. We know that you guys are listening and we appreciate that. But yeah, I mean, it's like, it's just crazy. And some artists, we're on like a budget, we're relatively smart with our money, where it's like, okay, we know that this song is good, but like, are we going to put in $1,000 of our own money to make this song happen? I don't know. I don't think so.
Especially because nothing's guaranteed. Half of those playlists are like bots listening to it and not real streams.
Right. I think we got on some real ones though, but yeah, there are some ones that are super fake. I would rather put $1,000 into like touring or like merch that we could sell at shows.
Absolutely.
I would do that. Because then you can get like some actual return on investment, but just putting money into the Spotify thing, it's something that I know has worked for people really well, but it's just like, I don't know. I just can't do it. Like a little bit of money's fine, but
I'm not willing to put an entire paycheck into making sure that a whole bunch of people from Ukraine listen to our song. Not that there's anything wrong with Ukraine.
Not at all. No,
not at all. If you're listening to our songs and for some reason watching this in Ukraine, hell yeah.
But yeah, it is interesting what happens when you pay for streams and pay for playlists and stuff like that. But yeah, I would like to put it like $1,000 into touring and just getting out there and playing shows. I know that that's sometimes a huge loss of money, but at this point, that seems like the one thing that will obviously return. And also, I think it seems like a thing you can really go and like physically see how your work pays off. If you can sell your merch and you can put on a good like hour and a half set, get people dancing, get people putting money in the tip jar, but you got to put on a good show.
You got to put on a good show, and you got to be not afraid to ask for money.
And we're not here complaining about, because I do see people that say stuff like, I hate Nashville because they don't support like original music. All they support's covers. I've seen people say stuff like that on the internet, and I'm just like, dude, that's been every city ever. Like everybody has always wanted to hear covers.
Dude, come to Portland, Oregon. You want to hear any sort of songs with a glockenspiel in it? That's your place. I mean, touring bands will on purposely skip over Portland.
I think they have a hard time in Portland sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's still as much of a thing as it used to be, but there used to be days where they would skip Portland and have like 2 Seattle days.
Yeah.
Just because like I think Portland's a tough spot sometimes for some bands, some big bands too. Anyways, but yeah, people have always wanted covers. Tons of bands started out playing covers, and I think that me and Joseph are just now
coming around to that
and being less lazy with that, you know, because it does take some real effort and some rehearsal to get good at covers and to learn them, you know, and we finally put in the time with that. There's always more room.
Now we have a nice long set. We're playing October 3rd, Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Yeah.
Socially distanced.
And we're making money. We're getting paid.
Which
is great. So thank you to people who make some small amount of budget in their event for the artists. It's really great. Especially if they're good. You know, I mean, I understand if it's like I get it. If it's like a high school band and they're just like, you don't know if they're serious and they're just happy to have a gig, you know, it's cool to let them come play something for free, I guess. But I don't like it when it's like ticket sales and that whole thing. That's my biggest complaint for that era that we went through. Like growing up, it was always about, hey, here's like 50 tickets, try to sell as many as you can. And then we would just, you know, go to all our friends. They'd give us their parents' money or their money, whatever they had. And we would sell them a ticket. And then we'd have all this cash on us for months. Finally, the day of the show would come, which would be like a Thursday night, school week.
In downtown Portland,
which is 30 minutes away from where we grew up. And then we would give the like promoter or whoever like a huge bag of cash, get absolutely nothing.
My favorite is if you a ticket got stuck in like your seats and you didn't count the tickets right and you brought it back. You'd be like, "You're missing a ticket. Where's the money?" Be like,
right? Yeah. Sorry, dude. I lost a piece of paper. But I mean, growing up, I didn't mind, you know, the shows that we played for free and stuff like that.
Oh, not at all.
And there was no tickets. It was just like, hey, just invite your friends. Because the same amount of people showed up. You know, we would play at like at the local like park. Remember that our first show?
Oh yeah.
There was no ticket sales for that. That's the kind of stuff that's great. I mean, when a local community wants to showcase some talent, I think it was like us and then like a screamo band.
We played there twice. It was us and a screamo band, and then
we grew up in a weird time. Like, I think that's done. I think that's over.
I don't think as many bands are trying to be screamo. I remember we were like the only band in our hometown that wasn't trying to be screamo.
Pretty much. It was actually really funny and crazy. Like, imagine they had this thing in our town. We grew up in a town called Camas, Washington. They had this thing called the Camtown Youth Festival. I don't know if they still have it, but well, probably not during COVID. But anyways, they would just have like stuff for like kids to do. There was like bounce houses and then I don't know, but it also face painting, but it also attracted like kids in middle school. There was other things that were fun there. I forget what it was, but I remember one year I saw a band play there and I forget what it was. So I ended up like emailing the park person and they put us on the showcase and we played, I think at like noon or something.
Yeah.
And there was a bunch of people there and they were really supportive, mostly our parents, but there was like a good crowd there. It was like actually a really good show.
Yeah.
And
first show ever.
But before us at around 11 a.m. or 10 a.m., this like seriously hardcore metal band played. Shout out Tanner Mohagan, Jordan Blodgett, high school buddies. And they were good. I mean, they were good at metal. They were great, but like, I remember I went to school the next day and my teacher had gone to see us and she was like, dude, my kids were like really scared when they were playing.
Dude, why wouldn't that?
It was like 30 minutes of like,
they're screaming and there's kids on bounce houses and like with balloon animals and like faces painted like tigers. And they're just,
yeah. No, honestly, no offense at all toward metal. It's just that.
No, some of it's good.
Some of it's great, and they were probably great and talented for their age, especially. But you know, it's kind of a room clearer when it comes to like certain venues like that one.
100%.
You know, but man, metal was really the name of the game in a lot of the shows we did growing up. It was like we
were always the odd band out.
Oh man, real quick, I knew we would end up being able to talk about this because it's so many memories. But yeah. We're good. It's not gonna. I didn't loop it.
Oh, I'm just making. Oh, okay.
Anyways, one of our buddies, his name is Matt Hartman. He has
shout out Matt.
Shout out Matt. he got kind of suckered into a couple things like that growing up, where there was this company in Portland. And I don't know if they might be nationwide, but they were called Afton, and they would email bands and kind of like, it was like a pyramid scheme show basically. Yeah, however many tickets.
It was the Vector knives of the music industry.
Oh man, we gotta talk about pyramid schemes one of these days. Write that down.
All right.
So he got suckered into a show like that, and he was like a folk act, like an acoustic guitar singer-songwriter folk act, and he was like, dude, never play a show with that company. They don't even care who's on the bill. It was like him followed by like a satanic metal band that like actually like sang about Satan, and then it was like a pop punk band, then like another singer-songwriter, and then like some like hippie-ish band, and then it was like another deathcore band.
Dude, that's like the most Matt show ever, though.
I just felt bad, like just him talking about it and just thinking about his parents who like came out to see him, and like it's him playing his like beautiful folk, and then it's just like deathcore the rest of the time.
Oh, Matt, we love you, buddy. That is so funny.
Anyways, let's wrap it up, right?
Yeah, we're about to run out of time. Whew, that was good. Wow, we went off on that one. That was a lot easier than I was anticipating it to be. Jeez. All right. Anything else you want to add before we close up shop here, John?
No. Let's close up shop.
Let's close up shop. Everybody, thank you for checking out our podcast. We released She Moves Around, our new single, about 2 weeks ago. It was doing really good online. Please check it out anywhere you can check out music. We even have a music video I'll be throwing up in the card right there that you can see right above John's head. It's
also, if you're too lazy to figure out how to listen to the song, like my mom apparently, she hasn't even listened to the whole song.
Ellen.
You can go to johnandjoe.com, and there's many ways to listen to it if you don't have a streaming provider. There's YouTube, and that's the only way. But YouTube's free, so check it out.
You can also just go onto Google page and just type in John and Joe and She Moves Around, and it'll come up.
Yep.
Anyways, we've got another, not another show, our first show of the year. First show of the year. Only show of the year.
Only show of the year so
October
far.
3rd in Grand Rapids, Michigan. So if we have any people checking us out before then, we're going to be super stoked to see you up there.
Here's to live shows starting up again.
Live shows starting up again. All right. And we got some more new music at some point coming your way. Always working on it. All right.
She gets around, she moves around me. She gets around, she moves